I did this mock draft with my dad's girlfriend's coworkers. She's a receptionist at an elementary school. Um, and so it was just a bunch of like teachers that teach little kids. Um, a bunch of women actually teaching little kids drafting, and it sounded like a whole lot of fun. So I joined, and the draft was yesterday, right? And I joined last minute. I joined at like 1:59. Drafts at 2. I don't come in expecting much. There's like 5 auto picks out of the 12-man draft right away, and I'm like, this is about what I expected. But the draft proceeds, and it's like a home league. It's the standard home league. You're seeing running backs flying off the board, and it's nice and fun. I get Steph Diggs at 11, and then I get Travis Kelsey at what would it be 14. I don't know, but it got interesting after that. I kind of reached on Kelsey a little bit, but I was like, well, first off, this wasn't for money, right? If I'm doing this, I would have taken a little more precaution, but I took Travis Kelsey, and then the biggest value in the third round. Well, no, actually, I went Travis Etienne, right? Because I needed to secure a running back, but I get Kyle Pitts in the fourth, or it might have been vice versa. Actually, I gotta look. Yeah, I drafted him in the third round. I misspoke. I got him at pick 35, which I thought was a value, right? I looked at the board and I saw Kyle Pitts, and he was the best player, so I clicked draft, right? Which leaves me with Kelsey and Pitts, right? So I go bully tight end, and the rest of the draft goes. I get my first Juju share. I'm pretty happy. I get AJ Dillon, Jalen Hurts, Tony Pollard. It's a pretty good team. And then I accidentally auto picked James Robinson, which was unfortunate, as well as Rashad Penny, which is a little bit less unfortunate. But that happened. And then I'm calling my dad. It's like 7 o'clock, right? The draft ended at 4:30, and we're going on with our days. And I didn't even think about this team until about 6:59, right? And I look at it, and I'm like, damn, they really gave me James Robinson, right? And I already got my 2 tight ends, so I'm like, all right, like I'm gonna try to ship off one of these tight ends and James Robinson, right? And I click on my dad's team because, I mean, my dad was the only person in this league that I could have done a deal with because we all know the random ESPN owners, they're never gonna respond to the trades, right? But I'm like, Dad, you have Tyler Higbee as your starting tight end, and then he starts talking and he gets really concerned because he's like, well, I was pretty confident about my draft, but ESPN has me projected to rank or to finish last, and I was like, oh no, that's not good. And it was at this point when I realized that he needed a trade, right? He needed him to upgrade from Tyler Higbee. So I start sweet talking, right? And I see that he has Nick Chubb and Rashad Bateman and Cortland Sutton, Damian Pierce. I mean, there's some names that I want here, right? But we're talking about Kyle Pitts and Travis Kelsey here, right? Like, I'm gonna need I'm gonna need something of substance, as they say. So I start reading off the players I'm interested in to Dad, and he's like, you know what? I'll give you Nick Chubb and Rashad Bateman for Kyle Pitts and Tony Pollard. And I'm like, yo, like I would just listen off the guys that I liked, right? And he just took the first 2 names, and he said, I'll give you those 2 guys. I'm like, you know what? That doesn't sound like a half bad idea. And then he was like, I mean, this is like the like age-old response to any trade. I gotta think about it. I like it, but I'll get back to you, right? So I tell him, I'm like, Dad, if I give you James Robinson, will you do the deal right now, right? And this, I I I, I felt like a bit of a Svengali here, right? Because I had Travis Etienne and James Robinson. I don't want James Robinson at all, but my dad is the ESPN rankings personified, and he love him some James Robinson, right? So I'm like, Dad, man, like I'll do you a favor, right? I got ETN and I accidentally got J Rob. I'll throw in J Rob as a sweetener if you accept this right now. So that's how I ended up with Nick Chubb and Rashad Bateman on the squad instead of Kyle Pitts. and James Robinson. Um, but that team's looking pretty good now. My starting roster is gonna be Jalen Hurts, right? Travis Etienne, Nick Chubb, Stephon Diggs, Juju, Kyle Pitts, and Rashad Bateman in a 12 team league. Um, that's about it.